Hey, kind of something where this has been the most talked like angle or thing in sports alongside all the various other topics in sports. And it surrounds obviously one of the most basically important players that the game of women's basketball has probably seen up until this point in Caitlin Clark. Now, for people who are living under a rock, don't know why, Caitlin Clark has been like getting a lot of hate, a lot of criticism, a lot of I guess, slander thrown at her early on into her WNBA career. And, you know, I honestly think it's complete bullshit. I do think it's complete bullshit. And the fun fact is I'm actually going to my first WNBA game tonight. I'm going to go watch the Los Angeles Sparks play the Indiana Fever in crypto. Hmm. I wonder why I'm going to be watching. It's obviously because I want to see how WNBA basketball is live, but I also want to watch to see Caitlin Clark play. Um, and I think that's a big deal. Now, obviously the hate she's been getting as of late just basically comes down to, well, everything that has happened and everything that has been going on in terms of off the court stuff with her and what the impact she has brought to the WNBA with all the recognition it's getting. Um Listen, all it's crazy, man. It's crazy. The fact that she has done so much in terms of the visibility, the impactability, everything of bringing the awareness to people wanting to go out there and watch WNBA basketball. And I think it just stems from the point that people were like, well, and I think I think it's especially coming from like veteran players or old players, I guess, at the WNBA. Again, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments section. Um, it kind of just stems from the fact like, oh, you people, these veteran players and maybe some other people who played in the WNBA and maybe some other people, who are, I guess, anti Caitlin Clark for whatever reason. Um, they talk about how, well, listen, we were growing, the game was growing, WNBA was growing, and it wasn't just Caitlin Clark that started that, and everything. Um, and listen, yes, I will say Caitlin Clark, or well, I will say the WNBA was growing. There was some getting talked about. Like, like I remember well, when I was watching, um, because I'm not very knowledgeable in the game of women's basketball. And like there's certain players. Like I know of certain players, like I knew of Candace Parker, I knew of like Brianna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, Kelsey Plum, what is it? The Asia Wilson. I've heard of their names and everything, but I never actively went on my way to go watch WNBA basketball. And yes, the game was growing, but like I said, it's like I remember like a few years ago, like maybe when I was like only in high school or something like that, high school, junior high, and I was getting into sports and everything. I didn't even know where to stream WNBA basketball. I don't even think they would even put their NBA their finals on ESPN. Like as of late, like the last 2, 3 years, they've actually been putting the WNBA finals on ESPN. Um, because really there's at that point in time, there's really nothing going on outside of baseball, maybe, and maybe you just have some preseason football, if not week one starting off. Um, and everything. So um that's kind of the thing right then and there. But yes, the game has started to grow and get bigger. But it's basically by like what you can quote unquote say little small steps and nice little steps where, okay, incrementally they're growing. But is it that big hit? Is it that big um what is it? Is it that big jump to where it's like, okay, we're gonna see improvement going on. And you know, that big jump, that big improvement, that big watch in terms of ticket sales, viewership, a bunch of other stuff, obviously that goes into the fact of it. At the end of the day, you have to be honest. It's because of Caitlin Clark. With what she did at Iowa in college basketball, really starting out her junior year, she came out on fire in her junior year. That's when her talk started coming around. And then when in her senior came, it was only heightened and made it bigger to the point like and it made women's basketball so big, strictly from the point that was like the one time the women's tournament, the women's freaking tournament, their March Madness tournament was more watched than the fucking men's March Madness tournament. And then you had crazy viewership for the NBA for the WNBA draft. And then like her first game against the Connecticut Sun got 2.1 million people to watch, mind you, on ESPN 2, and as well that game was on ESPN 2 for whatever reason. And then it was going up against the playoffs, the NBA playoffs at the time. And still people 2.1 million people decided to tune in and watch a WNBA game strictly alone because Caitlin Clark's playing in the game and they want to see how she does, which has only increased the viewership around the course of the league for all the other WNBA teams. Like I've been watching a few Chicago Sky game because really I don't got a team, so I'm just gonna go. My favorite football team is the Bears, so I'm just gonna go with the home team, which is weird because that means I'm a Chicago Bears, a Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, Los Angeles Clippers, and a Chicago Sky fan. And I remember watching bits and pieces of the Chicago Sky winning their championship they won a few years ago with Candace Parker and everybody over there. And I'm gonna watch more, which they actually ended up getting a really damn good win last night against the New York Liberty, where Angel Reese killed it in that game. Which I actually will bring up what she said in a tweet that ended up actually being deleted, I guess, as of today. But um, listen, and I bet you that was probably the Chicago Sky telling her that, but I'll get to that in a quick second. But it's crazy of what Caitlin Clark has done to impact the game of the WNBA and bring it the awareness and the visibility I wouldn't say it needs, but hey, it's definitely helping it out. It's making people actually check out the WNBA, watch WNBA, go up to these games and see, okay, obviously the NBA playoffs are going on and everything, but when it's over, when the NBA finals are over, when the NBA is done, you know, we only really have baseball till around August time till we at least get some football, which is really preseason football, and then we really have to wait till September to get actual legit football. What can I do if I don't want to go watch a baseball game or I'm not into baseball game? Hey, there still is basketball. It's WNBA, and obviously it's this like it's centered around this one, you know, athlete that brought this most visibility to the game, and legitimately, people are going out to games to go see Caitlin Clark play because of what she has done. At the same time, also going out to go see other teams play and what they're about. Like, I think I'm gonna go to two WNBA games this year, mostly because that's only what I can fit in my schedule. But obviously, I'm so happy that the I'm so happy that the Sparks Fever game I'm going to later tonight. Um, it's on a Friday night at 7 p.m. and that's one of the off days I have on my schedule. Plain and simple. Like legitimately, that's one of the few off days I have. And thank goodness it wasn't a weekday because I would have missed it probably. If anything, I would have been rushing over to go watch the game. After work is over, you know? Um So there's that right then and there within itself. And then I'm also gonna go to the since the Sky are my favorite team. Luckily, they play on a Saturday afternoon. I'll be going to the Spark Sky game. So, you know, it should. I'm very excited to go, and obviously, I can't wait to see obviously Caitlin Clark play. Obviously, can't wait to see what Cameron Brink has to play too. Which I've seen her in person. She's very, very tall, very, very tall. My goodness, I was shocked at how tall she was. And this is, mind you, I think when she was wearing like high heels at this event I was at, that I was working or whatever. But she's very tall. Anyways, um the hate that Caitlin Clark is getting, you know, I think it's definitely undeserving and it's unwarranted. Like, honestly, just keep things at the basketball level. If you want to critique her on her play and everything, that's fine. But like all these you know, these shots that people are taking at her and these things that they're saying about her, whether it's some fans or whether it's some former NBA player, WNBA players saying this about her and things like that. It's just it just shows you how insecure some of these people are, and I know I'm calling maybe some former WNBA players insecure, but it really goes to show you, like, okay, you're just that mad that, okay, this girl's coming into the league. She's actually helping bringing visibility to your league and helping your game grow and make it as an impact. It's like, do you want the WNBA to not to obviously make its growth, but in a small increment way? To where, okay, maybe years down the road, that's when you'll see the progress of your work, you know. But basically, all these young athletes from the draft that came in, including Caitlin Clark, you know, coming off what they did in the tournament, in the March Madness tournament for the women's bracket, you know, and like they got a whole freaking ESPN documentary about that. Like, that's how big that was. You know, the people are these young upcoming, you know, WNBA players that are hopefully superstars, including Caitlin Clark, coming into your game and is just bringing the impact from the jump and bringing some new life, some new blood to the point where you got actual people coming out to game, people watching them on TV if they can't make it out to games, and getting just everything sales related up. You know, and if Caitlin Clark ends up becoming like a freaking superstar, generational talent, which I believe she will, which she will be, and what I believe she is, you know, that's only going to help the WNBA for years to come. Like, she's doing this at the level of a rookie player. And yeah, she's going through her own. I've seen some of her games when I've had the times to watch the games. And yeah, she's going through her rookie struggles. Every rookie's going to go through that. But when she adjusts and she finally gets accustomed to the WNBA and everything, like, I don't like, she struggled like in her first game against Liberty. And then the second game against the second game against Liberty, she freaking killed it. And I feel like she's getting better every single game she's playing in. Because guess what? That's how you get better as the experience goes on. You know, but it's crazy how some of these girls are kind of out to go get her and things like that. And some people say these things and discredit what she's done. Like, listen, the WNBA players had to fly commercial airlines. Basically, they had to be flying commercial airlines to their games alongside normal everyday people. Where, you know, obviously, if somebody were to see like a Kelsey Plum or something, if you're flying commercial and somebody just goes up to you and like, hey, that's Kelsey Plum, or that's Aja Wilson, or that's Candace Parker, they're probably getting like met by these people every now and then saying like, hey, can I take a picture and things like that? And they're probably grateful, if not, you know, fine with taking a picture or maybe getting an autograph for them. But you know, that could probably be like annoying, and you probably should want some privacy. And then plus, it's kind of the way you got to dress too. You know, you got to probably dress a little bit more secretive to make people know, like, okay, I'm not here. Otherwise, you might get flooded with fans and everything, right? You know, Caitlin Clark was the one that got the WNBA to finally use charter flights for their players, where now players don't have to use commercial airlines. They can actually have their own charter flights and be able to fly on with their teammates, and get to their destinations and don't have to worry about fans getting in the way of potentially interrupting them while they're trying to get to their next destination for a game. And add in the fact, like, okay, you know, they don't have to get delayed if there's a freaking flight delay and things like that. See, people don't understand, man. Caitlin Clark brought that to the game just on her impact alone. Like, do you think that she would have been able to make it through freaking through commercial airlines? Just imagine if she tried to go through commercial regular airlines. Fans would legitimately be flooding her, asking her for autographs, asking her for everything, photos. She probably wouldn't even be able to move in the airport as well as get to her flight. She would have to have security from the team just to freaking get her through the airport. And luckily enough, because of her, she brought charter airlines to the WNBA, something that no other player before her has done. Because for whatever reason, I don't know why the WNBA didn't think it was a good idea to have their players not fly charter. It just must goes to show you how cheap the WNBA was to not even think about doing that. You want to make sure you put the best players in the best positions to succeed. They work their asses off to get all the way here, and then guess what? All right, sorry, you got to fly commercial. Why am I being treated like a regular everyday US citizen when I could just legitimately have all these perks that maybe some people don't typically have? She was the one that brought that. Caitlin Clark brought that. And the fact that she's getting all this hate and everything, like, I think Angel Reese, I like Angel Reese, especially because she plays for the Sky. But um, she made a tweet saying, and that's on getting a win in a packed area or arena, not just because of one player on our charter flights. Now that was morally a shot because other people have been talking about this in the sports media world. I know LeBron James on him and JJ Redick's podcast talked about it. Charles Barkley a few days ago talked about it, and I think that was where Angel Reese was kind of tweeting at. She was tweeting at Charles Barkley's comments in terms of people critiquing Caitlin Clark, but regardless, it's still somewhat of her bashing Caitlin Clark because she mentioned the charter flight. And then even if she's talking about the Charles Barkley comment, Charles Barkley was defending Caitlin Clark, so you're still talking shit on Caitlin Clark, and everything. And apparently, I guess she deleted this tweet, which more than likely was probably the Chicago Sky team saying, like, listen, you need to take that tweet down. We wouldn't be here. Sadly, like, look, you've done great things for us, but we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. You know, um, and that's kind of what I'm talking about, like the petty little shots that are taken because maybe some people are a little bit butthurt and things like that, and they're not. And I don't know why. Maybe it's because they're not getting talked about much. But it all started with really the Diana Taurasi, and I forgot the other player that said, she'll have her welcome to the league moment. She won't. Which, oh, okay, oh, fine, yeah, she's having her welcome to the league moment because it's the WNBA. It's the best of the best, you know? And that's really truly when the hate started. Way back then before she even got drafted. But listen, honestly, I'm at the point where I'm done with the toxicity on the Twitter timeline, some fans and some other maybe athletes discrediting her and what she's done to grow and impact the game of the WNBA. Like I said, if not for Caitlin Clark, I probably wouldn't be going to my first WNBA game. And maybe because of Caitlin Clark and me watching this first WNBA game I'm going to later tonight, it's only going to impact me maybe going to more WNBA games when I see other teams play, see their superstars. You never know. That's how much that's the thing that can happen. I wasn't investing in WNBA basketball, but Caitlin Clark starting to get me just to see her play alone. I'm going to the game just to see her play alone. Really, truly, if I'm being honest. And who knows? Because of this one game, it can end up. And if I have a great experience, maybe I say, you know what? Let me go back next week. When's the next Sparks game? Are they playing the Dallas Wings? Let me go see how they doing. Oh, they're playing the Connecticut Sun. Let me go see how they play against Connecticut Sun. You know? So that's kind of the thing right then and there. Uh, that's what I kind of wanted to bring up and kind of do like somewhat of a quiet rant, really, about this topic because I just don't like the slander that Caitlin Clark's getting. Like, if you're gonna slander her, fine, but keep it on the court. Talk about how she's doing on the court, not what she's done off the court in terms of bringing the visibility to the league. And it's funny how this negative talk is happening, like as if she did something so wrong. Again, like I'm saying, I'm not saying that Caitlin Clark is 100% the 100% reason why W the WNBA, well, obviously she is the number one 100% reason why the impact is so at an all-time high right now. And I believe it's only going to grow the longer she continues to play. But I'm not going to take away the fact, like, yes, the people before her definitely did what they needed to do to help get recognition to the league. I'm not going to discredit them. But we also can't ignore the fact that Caitlin Clark has grown the game of women's basketball um to a crazy high to where now you got people actually going out there wanting to go watch women basketball games. And how, wanting to go check out the sport of women's basketball, showing like, okay, showing women like, okay, we can get visibility too, you know? And this is also going to impact younger women too. And they're going to look up to Caitlin Clark and just be like, well, if Caitlin Clark can do that, maybe I can do it as well. You know? That's another thing people ain't talking about. How the fact that she's also impacting young girls, young youthful girls, potentially playing the sport of basketball too. So that's what I wanted to say. I kind of wanted to do a little bit of a rant about that topic because I just hate the fact that she's getting ripped for all the wrong reasons, and it's nothing to do with whatever she's doing on the fucking court. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Like, especially at her age, as a rookie, she doesn't need all this unnecessary drama. It's already enough that the pressure that she's dealing, like, legitimately, the pressure she's dealing is to be great in this league. Because if she flops, well, then I'm not saying it's like a death blow to the WNBA, but it's like, it's kind of a big hit to the WNBA where it's like, oh, she gonna make it. She was probably just like that one hit wonder or so type of thing. But I have full confidence that she will be great in the game of WNBA basketball. And who knows, maybe as long as I live, it'll be a yearly tradition. I'll watch her play. Um, Whenever she comes to town. But that's all I'm gonna say. If you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts about this Caitlin Clark discourse. What are your thoughts on the situation? Do you think it's justified, the hate she's getting off the court, or do you think it's unjustified? About what's been getting talked about in terms of the hate coming her way, and things like that. So yeah, I won't say hate. How about I say backlash? But anyways, hit that subscribe button. You want to get more Cam 315 talk sports. I talk some NBA basketball. I don't really talk MLB, but if I want to talk about some of the MLB, maybe I will. And then I'm mostly talking about Chicago Bears football and then NFL football as a whole and things like that. But anyways, that's all I got to say. Till then, guys, catch you guys in the next video. Peace.